Let's draw Mimikyu. You need a couple supplies. You could start with a pencil, you can start with pens, and you need pictures of Mimikyu. I just typed in pictures of Mimikyu, and I like this one right here. So touch that one. Let's draw that. Oh, come back. Let's draw that one today. So I like to start by getting a code card. Don't use a good card in case you go over the edges. And I've already traced this one. I took my marker and I went around. Sometimes I like to start without an edge, which I can draw a second one over here next time. But I'm going to use my pencil and I'm going to try to draw this Mimikyu. And let's start with the bottom of his body. And he's got like a little bit of a star where the cloth comes down, and then he's got another layer, and those are going to be black. And then he's got another layer, it's a little bit yellow. I'll try to draw those like that. That's a little bit messy, but it'll pop when you add the color. And then his back comes up like this a little bit, and his tail comes out like a zigzag. Boop, 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 boop. Like this kind of. And then the front of his body is kind of like this. You got a little bit of a neck right here, kind of. And then his face, oh, it's a little squarer than that. It's okay to make mistakes, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It can just be close, or you can do whatever you want to. And I'll show you a little bit later how we make it however we want to. And this ear comes up a little bit like this. Kind of starts there. And it leans over kind of like that. And then he's got some forehead right here at the top of his head. And then this ear is a little bit droopy, like he's sad or tired. Comes down like that. Comes to a point like this, kind of, right about there. And then he's got the twirly eyes. We'll put one there, a little bit smaller because he's looking sideways. Another twirly eye right there. And he's got the famous Mimikyu mouth. It's like this. And then we'll leave a little light mark right there for one cheek, and a light mark right there for the other cheek. It's that easy. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my pens, and I'm going to use the 5. I like the 5. So I'm going to, what are you telling me, son? Okay. He has eyes. Those are eyes on the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll draw those in. Thanks. I thought there were buttons on his shirt. I didn't know there were eyes. So draw an eye there and an eye there. And now what I like to do is I sketched it out, but now I'm going to go back over and about in the same order and a little bit neater with the black. So there's what, like that, and there's another little bit of his bottom of his body here, and then another little bit here, and then his back a little bit curvy, and then his tail's easy, zigzag, zigzag, go, zigzag, zigzag, go, and then we'll put that little bit of line there to remind us. Okay, so let's look at the neck comes about here, and then we'll get this side of his head up into his ear. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just have fun drawing. I have fun drawing with David and Jacob, lots. And this ear has a little bit of the end is black, and it comes down like this. The rest of the ears like that, kind of. And then we get a little bit top of his head. And then this ear, it's a little bit droopy. Comes down like that. And let's get this side of his face. about like this. And he's got a little bit of his neck bend right there. And that front side like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the little bit of yellows here like this. I'm just gonna do that one like that one like that, and that one like that, and just leave it about like that. So I'm gonna leave his eyes in pencil right now because I'm gonna do something special because we are the Rabid Pikachus. So everybody likes to color differently. You can use alcohol markers, you can use watercolors, you can use POSCA pens. Let's see how POSCA will turn out. So we definitely are going to need yellow, and need, I like to use pink for his cheeks, and then we'll need a black, and to make that shading, I like this one because it looks like light is coming from the back, and I'm going to use these watercolor markers on top, and these are called Tombos, or you could just use alcohol markers. So I'm going to start coloring them in a little bit. I'll just start here. Let's start at the bottom where it's kind of yellowish like this. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just have fun, get it close. And then we get a little bit of his neck right there. And then the bottom part of his ear. I'm going to come up here, and the bottom up part of this ear. Come up here. And I'm going to start drawing his face. I'm going to leave room for his eyes. Get everything else filled in here. And I come down just a little bit. I'm going to leave room for his mouth too, because I'm going to do something special. Okay, let's switch over to black. See, in this picture, his tail is brown. I'm going to go ahead and just make it black, because that's what I want to do. So I'm going to leave the end of his ear. I'm going to color that all the way black, like this. And then this one, I'm going to color all the way black. And you see how it has two tones there in the drawing. I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm just going to make it all the way black like this. And you can choose to do it your way. That's fine. Oops, I came out of the lines a little bit right there, but that's fine. And like I said, I was going to make his tail all the way black. Zig, zag, go. Like that. And then we have the bottom of his... Does he wear a shirt? Or is this just his body that's kind of like an end of a cloth or something? I don't know. Do you know, David?
No, I actually don't know what the Pokemon is. It might not even be a Pokemon. It might be like a kid in a costume.
That's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go over just a little more yellow, a little bit. I missed those spaces just a little bit. There's too much white. There could be a little bit of white. It's not a big deal. This is a card that you could just have for you, special. You can have it as a prize card when you're playing Pokemon with your friends. Or you can just give it to your best friend because they're your best friend and you like sharing. Oops, I got a little bit of paint, the dark in there, but that's okay. I'll just smear it out a little bit, and it's a little bit gray, and that's fine. Kind of adds to like a shadow. That's okay. I'm gonna clean that off for next time in case I want to do something different with just yellow. Okay, so since we are the Rabid Pikachus, I'm gonna make a face that's different. So I'm gonna leave the top of his mouth like this, kind of like this. And then I'm gonna make like a big mouth where he's kind of looks mean a little bit, or a little bit like very, very something. I'll make it little drip marks here, kind of like maybe zombie-ish. And then I'm going to grab the gray POSCA and watch this. Put a little bit of gray inside of his mouth like this. And then I'm going to let that dry, and then watch what I do with his eyes. I'm going to grab red. I'm going to make big red Rabid Pikachu eyes. There's going to be Rabid Mimikyu. Yeah, let that dry a little bit, because I'm going to make it even cooler. Okay, while we're doing that, I'm going to use these to shade his body a little bit. I'm going to try a medium gray, and I'm going to look back over to this picture and put the gray from here and try to get the same place as gray here. So I'm going to start with this far ear, and I'm going to put just a little bit of gray here. And then I'm going to try this ear, and about a little more than half the ear has gray. So I'm going to do that. And then his top of his head doesn't, and this kind of meets over here, and it curves a little bit. And now I got to do the rest of his face. I'm going to switch to a lighter gray. I think that's a little bit dark. And I'm going to use this one. This is a 4075. I'm going to pull some of that gray over here. Like this. Then we got to come back and fill this in with yellow. That's okay. And I'm going to go over this and kind of make it blend a little bit down. Just push that around, tell the colors what to do. And then with this little pattern here, I'm going to try to follow this, and it curves like that a little bit. And then I'm going to come in and shade all of this. Let's see if I can lighten that up just a little bit. All right, let me get the rest of his face with a little more yellow. That down there. Get that yellow filled out here.
Remember to do the cheeks, Dad.
Yep, I'll do the cheeks. All right, I'm going to go back over his eyes a little bit. I'm going to get another black marker that I like to use. You can use whatever you want. You can use your liner. I like to use this. This is also a Tombow brand brush pen. And what I like about this one is that it's a soft tip. So I'm going to go around the edges of his eyes. Doesn't have to be perfect. He can be a little bit rough even. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Yeah, I'm going to make little tiny dots with the black marker like that. And then I'm going to come back over in his mouth and actually just be a little bit not perfect in the with lines. Just going to be a little bit like this, So his mouth looks just a little bit rough. Maybe he's like got black dripping out of his mouth a little bit down his front, just a little bit like that. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, David said put the cheeks in, so I'm going to use a little bit of pink. Just going to touch a little bit of pink here and a little bit of pink right at the edge of his mouth, just like that. Now I'm going to grab white and I'm going to make little dots in his eyes, because the black and white dots in his eyes is the style when Jacob originally made the first Rabid Pikachu, like a little bit of black, a little bit of white in his eyes. And now I'm going to do like this in his mouth to give a lot of contrast between black and white. And a little bit of white dots like that, and a little bit around his mouth, a little more. And he looks a little bit mean and rough. And a few more dots down like this. And if you really, something I learned recently, I'm going to go back, I'm going to get my shadow pen. If you really want to make your art kind of like pop off the page, you make him have a little bit of a shadow. So I'm going to do a little bit of just like touch the pen softly on the paper like this, underneath them a little bit. And if the color smears a little bit, that's fine. And like his ears coming here, so I'm going to make a little bit of a line like that. And this ear's coming over here, so I'll make a little bit of a line like that. And that's his shadow underneath him. And then I'm going to get a little more dark, like right underneath him. I'm going to get a little bit darker of one of these shadow markers. And I'm going to get right here, just a little bit darker. Like this, like this. Very gently touch over there, just like that. And let's see if we can be done. I'm gonna get this one. Let's see if I can just even that out just a tiny bit. There we go. Maybe let that shadow come right over there. If the color bleeds a little bit, that's fine. That's fine. And I'm going to do one more little tiny detail on his tail. There's that little line right there, and I'll make a little tiny white line like that. And I think we can call that done for a Mimikyu by the Rabid Pikachus. Thanks for watching.